Yo, what up, what up, what up? What's poppin', what's poppin', what's poppin'? So, boom. Got a new video today. It's a thinker video. You know what I'm saying? This junk called Hunting a $300 million dark web drug dealer. You feel what I'm saying? That's insane how you able to accumulate that much money online and not get caught. Before you even get to that point. But, I mean, hey, shout out to bro. He probably smart as But anyway, we finna get into this video, though.
Approximately 2015, Staten Island, okay. United States.
So this was like not that long ago, but it's a little ways away. 10 years ago. That's crazy to think. 2015 was 10 years ago. Time be flying. That'd be me.
It's late at night when Anthony Coronati, a fitness fanatic from the US, is on his way to pick up a package of illegal drugs he bought on a bodybuilding forum. When he arrives at his drop address, he notices that the package is a lot bigger than usual. When he picks it up, it rattles more than expected. The situation feels off, and instead of his usual routine, he decides to take the safest route back home. Coronati puts the box into his backpack and walks a few blocks until he finds a taxi he can wave over. The cab then drives him to an empty street a few miles away, where he pays in cash and gets out of the car. From there, he slips into a blind spot in a narrow alley and enters an old building. Inside, he quickly changes some of his clothes, stuffs his backpack into a trash bag, and steps out through a different exit. Lastly, he simply walks down the street until he reaches his apartment. When he arrives home, he places the box on his bed, grabs his cutter, and opens it. But for whatever reason, it's not full of steroids. Instead, it's packed with dozens of supplement pill jars. He grabs one of them, opens it, and takes out a pill. It's colorful and has a picture stamped on it. That's when he realizes that instead of getting steroids, he was sent at least a few kilos of most likely MDMA pills. Coronati is extremely confused and decides to contact Liston Is Here, his online dealer, to ask about the package. Only a few minutes later, he gets a response to his email. Liston Is Here tells him that he accidentally sent the wrong package, and that if Coronati reships it to a certain address, he'll pay him for the troubles. Coronati, believing that this would be a one-time affair, agrees to reship the package to what he thinks is a simple customer. However, what he doesn't know is that this wouldn't be a one-time thing, and that he's just been recruited into an international dark web drug cartel, an organization that sent tons of drugs throughout the world, made tens of millions of dollars, and created an almost perfect online
Bro got finessed into joining the operation. Now they gonna blackmail bro. I ain't gonna lie, you gotta do this, or we gonna have to snitch on you. We gonna have to let them niggas know you transport drugs, gang. You might as well just go ahead and, you know what I'm saying? Might as well just go ahead and work for the team. No, bro just got finessed. Damn. Hey, he should have left it where he seen
cartel. This is the story of Liston Is Here. This video is brought to you by NordPac.
Don't pay me, gang.
Early January 2017, North Carolina, United States. It's late at night, and a bunch of DEA agents are currently surveilling a woman who they suspect to be a dark web drug-dealing legend called Liston Is Here. You see, at this point in time, Liston Is Here is a well-known figure in dark web drug circles. He's been active since at least 2012 and has been selling through Silk Road 1, 2, Alpha Bay, and a bunch of other dark web markets. He specializes in pills, especially MDMA and benzos, but occasionally also sold other substances such as steroids or K. But back to the surveillance team. They've been watching the suspect for days, hoping for her to slip up. However, the woman seems to know what she's doing. She keeps a low profile, and other than packages which are suspected to be coming from her, the authorities have no evidence to arrest or search her house. But this night, something was different. One of the officers sees her getting rid of suspiciously large trash bags. This sparks his curiosity, and he decides to get his hands on those bags.
That's crazy,
But when
bro.
he
No way
looks
she
at the
just did
clock,
that.
he notices that the woman carefully timed her action because the garbage truck is only minutes away from their street, and if he doesn't act now, any potential evidence will be gone forever.
But still though, like, I wouldn't even take that risk if I was her. I would not even take that risk. What if the trash people late? It's over with. Get
The
the
Italian
trash. What you
Postal
doing?
Police claim
Bro,
to
just
have
standing
broken
there.
up a cyber espionage ring that
Why I'm
has
saying this shit like it's a real
It's now
camera
the
footage?
middle of the night, and while his suspect is asleep, the agent starts to go through her garbage.
That's kinda disgusting.
It seems like a complete waste of time
Kinda
at
illegal.
first,
Well,
but
it
when he
sounds
gets to
illegal.
the
I don't
second
think it is,
bag,
but still.
he finds a yellow sparkling substance.
That's kinda,
and
you
it's
know.
a lot. In particular, it's 2.5 kilos of MDMA dust.
Yeah, she's caught. It's
and
over with.
this
She's
changed
caught.
everything.
She's caught. It's over with. It's over with, y'all. She's caught. That's
January
crazy. I don't even know why she
18th,
wouldn't do that. That was the
2017,
dumbest thing I've ever seen in my
Buncombe
life.
County, North Carolina.
I would not take that
This
risk.
is Amanda Trull, a 31-year-old woman from North Carolina. She's currently speaking with an employee at the Buncombe County Steakhouse and asks him for a reservation the next day. It's for her mother's 67th birthday, and Trull, who hasn't seen her in a while, wants to make the celebration memorable. Trull's father has been absent from her life since she was 5, and even though this wasn't easy, her brother and mother were always there for her, supporting Trull throughout her many problems and helping her when she needed it the most. The next
That's
day,
right.
Trull starts her day in a good mood. She's happy to see her mom again. But around 4 p.m., just as she's putting on her shoes to leave, she hears a bunch of chaotic shouting in her apartment complex.
It's over with. Run. Bro, that's crazy. I always be wondering this. Why do officers be so fucking loud? They supposed to be getting in there quiet on some smooth, calm, and some stealthy shit. They just be in that motherfucker running, boots on, walkie-talkie on max, you know what I'm saying? They yelling and shit like, they gonna hear you coming. Ain't no element of surprise. What happened to the element of surprise? It's over with. Bro, if I was her and I heard that, I'm immediately dipping. They caught. They caught themselves.
Suddenly, the door bursts open and a team of officers rush in to arrest her. Meanwhile, it's almost 7 p.m., and Trull's mother is still sitting in the restaurant, completely alone. She's been waiting for almost 2 hours and has been calling Trull every few minutes, but nobody has picked up. She thinks that her own daughter has forgotten her birthday dinner, while in reality, she's being interrogated at the police station. Even worse, at Trull's apartment, the agents find
Yeah, she
over
got it at her
59 kilos of
apartment, bro.
MDMA, 14 kilos of ketamine, and a bunch of other illegal drugs.
In her crib, though.
However,
Come on.
during the interrogation, Trull reveals something unexpected. According to her, she's not the person behind Liston is here.
She got finesse too, bro. So that's why she wasn't on 10. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if you doing anything that you know you're not supposed to be doing, bro, especially selling like major drugs, I'm not talking about no Zop. I'm talking about some real shit. Like, you know what I mean? Bro, if you selling some real shit, you should already off the jump. Just be under, just like, you gotta live like you know you under surveillance. Like, even if you just started yesterday, you gotta live like you know you under surveillance, bro. Because you never know when you actually is. You know what I'm saying? You could get caught by the dumbest little shit ever. You gotta be on 10. Not saying go do crimes. Pause. Wait a minute. Go back. Rewind. Not saying do crimes. Don't do crimes. I'm just saying if you gonna do a crime, you gotta at least be smarter than that. You feel what I'm saying?
Instead, she's just a pawn in a bigger operation, claiming that she's merely one of many
That's
drug
crazy.
reshippers working for Liston.
Damn.
You see, a lot of dark web drug markets have vendors selling products, but these vendors don't always ship their products directly to customers. Instead, they use various methods to obscure the connection between themselves and the buyer, one of which is
That's
using
smart.
reshippers. Reshippers, like Trull, receive drug shipments from the source or another reshipper, who then instructs them to repackage the shipment and to send it to a new address, either to the customer or another
crazy. You got
reshipper.
these niggas
This
drop
way,
shipping
authorities can't directly trace the shipments back to the source, allowing the masterminds behind the operation to remain anonymous. Apparently, Trull had been going through financial difficulties a few years ago, and someone called Benjamin Roten introduced her to the reshipping business. Eventually, Roten also put her into contact with the supposed ringleader, who only went by Liston is here. Trull explained that she could earn between
Oh no, so she didn't get finesse.
1400.
She got, like, they hired her ass. She didn't get finesse. The other dude in the beginning got finesse. She just got hired.
$100 per shipment, and that he'd send her 4 to 7 shipments per month, each with specific instructions.
4 to 7. It's low-key kind of a good deal. Nah, it can't be 4 though. It gotta be at least, like, you gotta give me 6, 7, and them bitches can't be $800. Like, I mean, if you give me 6, 7, 800, ain't that bad. But still, like, not the risk too high, bro. The risk too high. You gonna pay me like 25, 30. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 30. You know what I'm saying? 2,500. And I ain't gonna, that $800 ain't gonna cut it. No,
and that he'd send her 4 to 7 shipments per month, each with specific instructions on what to do with them. Nevertheless, this quickly escalated into many, many more shipments, with Trull's affidavit stating that she sent over 4,200 packages to addresses all over the U.S., Canada, Jamaica, and even Ireland.
Oh yeah, she got paid.
It's unclear what happened to Benjamin Roden, but Trull decided to cooperate with the police and revealed that one address stood out.
Oh yeah, nah, she's cooked. Now she's snitching. It's over with. She done. They finna.
A house in Staten Island. This address had both sent and received.
Okay, number one, I know this man ain't shipping drugs from his house. Number one. All right. 2, I know he ain't giving his house address to his workers. That's insane. Why was you giving your house address to workers? They gonna snitch on your ass if they get caught. It's over with. Bro, come on, bro. He can't live here. There's no way he lives here.
Dozens of shipments from Trull, suggesting that it was the next piece of Liston's criminal network.
Impossible he lived there.
But harmful substances aren't the only things sold on dark web marketplaces. Compromised accounts, sold through so-called dumps, are a massive part of the illegal dark web economy. And, as you might expect, these credentials are bought by fraudsters.
Is this an ad? It is, motherfuckers.
1st, 2017,
he got to
Staten
talking a
Island.
little too proper, too formal.
It's early in the morning, and agents of the New York Drug Enforcement Strike Force have 4.5 kilos of MDMA tablets in their car. They're on the way to an abandoned house where they deposit the package and tell the U.S. Postal Inspection Service to confirm the deposit on their systems. Then they wait until someone comes to pick up their package.
Okay, so it's abandoned.
A few hours later, a man arrives at the home and picks up the package. And once he comes out of the gate, a bunch of undercover police officers jump into action and arrest him. The man is identified as Anthony Coronati, a name that is interestingly also associated with a fraud case from 2014, where someone called Anthony Coronati, and also from Staten Island, was operating a hedge fund called Bid to Ask LLC. But instead of investing people's money, he simply took it and used it for his own personal expenses, such as plastic surgery and trips to the Caribbean. Either way, Coronati also claims to be working for someone named Liston, insisting that his entry into the reshipping business began with a failed steroid purchase a few years ago.
That's bro. Oh, okay. I ain't gonna lie. This Liston nigga kinda good. I ain't gonna lie. He kinda decent at his job. No, he ain't getting caught. He having
Liston's calculated manipulation and the promise of easy money. Interestingly, he mentions that he purchased the steroids via the clear web and initially contacted Liston not through Onion emails, Wicker, or PGP-based messages, but through a bodybuilding forum on which Liston gave the email listonishere@gmail.com as a contact method. You see, I was able to find some profiles of Liston on dark web market databases, and on his Silk Road 2.0 profile he lists an Onion email address, indicating that the Gmail Coronati gave to the authorities was something created by Liston before he even knew how to properly hide his identity through anonymity-based protocols.
Damn.
This means that, thanks to Coronati's email, the police now had a direct link to whoever was behind the Liston usernames. Even better, they now also had 2 compromised members from Liston's organization and a bunch of incoming packages they could trace right back to the source. And almost all of Liston's packages originated from the same place, the United Kingdom city of Coventry. October 2017.
Okay.
Coventry, United Kingdom.
Bro, across the whole water to doing this.
It's around 12 a.m. when Banmeet Singh, a 33-year-old Indian man, goes into one of Coventry's post offices. He's got a few packages, and they're addressed to an apartment in North Coventry's post office.
Ain't that in the UK? Why I say United States? Am I tripping?
He's got a
think I'm
few
listening hard
packages,
enough.
and they're addressed to an apartment in North Carolina in the U.S. The teller glances at the package and sees that the return address seems to be completely fabricated. However, he doesn't really care and takes it in. The man pays for the package and leaves. But what he doesn't know is that across the street, officers from the UK's National Crime Agency, in cooperation with US DEA agents, are surveilling his every step. They believe that he is, in fact, the mastermind behind the Liston organization.
So
Most likely, a mixed team of law enforcement officers from the UK and the US began to surveil a bunch of post offices in Coventry. This team then made a list of people who displayed suspicious patterns, such as sending packages every day while rotating post offices, outfits, and most importantly, sending packages without proper return addresses. Eventually, the police also put Banmeet Singh on this surveillance list, and once a package linked to him arrived at the address of a compromised reshipper, law enforcement was able to confirm Singh as the person behind Liston.
Bro.
Either way, once the authorities designated him as the new main suspect, they found a bunch of weird inconsistencies in his finances. You see, he had a bunch of companies under the Antilia name, but none of them made any money, and yet he was somehow living a decent lifestyle. The task force in the UK then quickly alerted the authorities in the US, and given the amount of drugs and money that was moving through Singh, aka Liston's, organization, the US agencies decided to make their next move. April 26, 2019, Coventry, United Kingdom. It's around 4 a.m. while 2 blacked-out cars are speeding through Coventry's empty streets. Inside are a handful of armed special forces, and they're on the way to Singh's residence. All of them know that the operation must go as fast as possible. Singh could wipe the data from his computers in a few seconds, and if this happened, a big chunk of evidence could disappear forever. When they reach their destination, the doors are thrown open and 5 officers jump out. They immediately run to the door and smash it open, which wakes up Singh. But before he realizes what's going on, the first officer is in his room, and Singh is staring down the barrel of a gun. Singh is arrested without any resistance, and thanks to the officer's speed, he wasn't able to get rid of any evidence. Inside his house, law enforcement finds a bunch of evidence, but most importantly, they find a wallet with 3,838 Bitcoin on one of his devices, and after analyzing its transaction history, they linked most of the Bitcoin to Liston's business. Either way, Singh was now on his way to a British jail, while on the other hand, the US began its battle to get him extradited. But for over 4 years, nothing happened. And after Singh lost all his appeals, he was extradited to Ohio in March of 2023. There, he spent another year in prison until he finally agreed to a plea deal in 2024. And according to his plea, he promised to forfeit all of his Bitcoin, which should have amounted to over $300 million. But But this is where it gets interesting again.
300 million, bruh,
Transaction logs
in
showed that he had
Bitcoin, bruh.
received at least 8,000 Bitcoin from selling
I don't,
drugs.
But I
But
don't
Singh
know, like, I don't know the significance of Bitcoin. So how much is 8,000 Bitcoin? Bro, that shit probably like $1 billion. Like, how much is 8,000 worth of Bitcoin? How much is that? I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of crazy.
insisted that he only had access to 3,838, which had indeed been confiscated during the raid in 2019. However, there were allegations that he sent large chunks of this money to whoever was behind the Gmail account going by
I feel like it's not just one person.
aka.parvinder@gmail.com. As it turned out,
They finna
this
get called the
email
same
belonged
way.
to Parvinder Singh, Banmeet Singh's brother. And even though there's no proof at all,
Oh, yeah.
it's extremely likely that some
do
or
all
maybe
this money,
all
like-
of the missing 4,000-something
He
Bitcoin
got
were
it.
sent to Parvinder, either as a security measure or because Parvinder was actively part of the listing cartel. And at that moment, 4,000 Bitcoin
Listing
would be
cartel, that's
around
low-key a fire-ass
$150
name, I ain't
million.
gonna lie to you.
April
That's a
25th,
fire name.
2024, somewhere in India. After a bunch of flights and driving, Banmeet Singh finally arrives at his family's house in India. There, he's greeted by his brother, Parvinder, his father, and a few other family members. They eat, talk, and have a good time to celebrate his release. But minutes after they go to sleep, the house is raided by the Indian
No
police,
way.
who arrest Banmeet's brother, Parvinder. Just 4 days later, the police conduct a follow-up raid at a new house in Haldwani, where Banmeet had relocated after the first raid. There, authorities discover a device containing over 268 Bitcoin, which they immediately link to Banmeet Singh's activities as
How much
listed.
is that though?
This, of course, leads to Banmeet's arrest, who landed in jail once again. The only difference was that at this point, both of the brothers were in jail. One thing that's really interesting is that on the ED's press release, they state that the investigation was started because of a request by the US, which could indicate that the US wasn't going to let Singh get the other half of his Bitcoin, and indirectly wanted to arrest his brother Parvinder as well. Other rumors even suggest that the Bitcoin had been planted by Indian authorities because the US simply wanted Parvinder in prison. But this is a far reach, although not impossible. Either way, the trial for this matter is currently underway, and even though Banmeet already spent time in English and American prisons, he and his brother could face another sentence in India. And, of course, the Indian authorities want to confiscate the remaining 3,600 Bitcoins, which now has a value of almost 300 million US dollars. If they'll ever get them is a good question, and if Banmeet and Parvinder even have the remaining Bitcoin is another issue.
Imagine they gave it to somebody else. Alright, bro. This like, if they gave it to somebody else, they never get caught. Them niggas is like, I ain't gonna lie. But bro, no cap, bro. I feel like a lot of people, they be doing these risky things and they don't be prepared for it. Y'all gotta be prepared, bro. Like I said, bro, if you doing something you know you ain't gotta be no business doing, you gotta act like you on the verge of getting caught at all times. You gotta be prepared. No bullshit. Not saying go do crimes. Once again, don't go do crimes. Don't do crimes. Do legal shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't do crimes. But just be smart. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video though. No bullshit.